Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about wasting your time. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, how can I convince my bosses that getting an Azure certification as a software engineer is a waste of time? Well, you will either it's impossible because it's a matter of belief, or you simply explain to them what it is that you need to do in order to do your job, because it might be a little bit tricky for me to answer the specifics, because an example would be if you already know how to work with Azure's platform and all the different areas, then why would you learn the things that you already know? But your managers or your bosses might either not believe you, or you might be a consultant and having a certification raises your value on paper, like your CV at the very least. Uh, this is where it becomes a little bit tricky for you, because if your managers, as I said, like if they have a belief, uh, it's basically impossible for you to explain it to them, because even if you were to show them that, well, I can actually do all of these sorts of things, and it's like people who say that school, like who that believe that school is the most important thing for success, and then you hold up these people who, like, they didn't go to school but they still are massive successes, and like the people who believe that school is very important for your success will usually not change their opinion. Like, it's not a matter of facts, it's a matter of belief. It's like someone who believes, in cosmic signs or whatever. Like, their belief system will always make them right, regardless of how you try to spin it. And for your certification, it's the same thing. Like, why would you not take it from your manager's perspective? Like, oh yeah, you already know all this stuff, but it's good to have the certification because, as I said, it gives you a higher value on your CV, even though that might not be true, or it's going to maybe teach you some stuff that you didn't know, and maybe if you take this course you will add some extra stuff to you, like learn some more stuff. And yeah, sure, that might also be true, but I've also talked to quite a lot of people who have these certifications who, well, they don't do this as their daily job, and they haven't for years, so that certification is just you can basically wipe your ass with it, because they don't actually know the thing that they have the certification for. So, yeah, it's a great piece of paper. Uh, but that's something that you can't really do much with. But that brings us back to, as I said, the thing I don't know about you is the case that you don't want to learn this stuff because you don't need to really for your job, or is it that you already know it? Both of those situations sort of come back to the same thing, and that is to explain to your boss the situation. And then ideally you should hear out your manager as well, because it might be the case that you are missing something that is relevant. Such as, for example, let's say that you're going to expand the company, or they need you to take on more advanced work, something like that. Your role might be growing, like you might have to start taking on some of the ops related tasks in your company, and if you don't know anything at that point, then a certification is a way for you to sort of learn that. And it might be the case that they think that if they give you the certification, and that's sort of the idea behind them, right? Then there is a quality stamp attached to that, which basically means that, I mean, a classic one would be, if I give you a certain amount of hours to learn this stuff, how will I know if you're making progress, or if you actually know the thing, if like all I have is your word that you're studying? That's not so measurable for me as the employer. But if I give you a certification where there's a test, attendance, etc., etc., that basically means that I can validate that you know the thing, or if you don't know the thing. It's the same reason why we have code tests in the industry, where if you can ask practically anybody who's ever touched anything that is related to coding, and they will say, like, to vary in one way or another, they will claim they have coding skills. But the thing the test is there to check is to see, do you have the coding skills that are necessary for the level of work that we are doing? That's what it should be, but it's not. That's not always the case, unfortunately. But that's what it should be. And so this might be a very efficient way for your employer to test to make sure that you have those skills as well. But if I would suggest that if you're really hell-bent on not getting the certification, it really comes down to that. Do you actually need it? And if nothing else, if you really do feel that it's a waste of time and they're going to force you to do it anyway, well, either quit or fail the test. Because as I said, if you know the stuff, then it doesn't matter if you fail, because you can still do the job. And if you don't know the stuff and you fail the test, I mean, are they gonna continue forcing you forever? Personally, I don't think that you should go down that route, but I mean, if they're not gonna hear you out and listen to you, it might not be the best working relationship you have going there. So what I want you to take away from this is that, well, certifications are usually something that people invest in, either because it adds value to your CV or it gives the employer some type of proof that you actually know something. That's sort of the idea behind the testing. And some people are already very skilled with this sort of stuff. They've already learned these things to a great extent, so certifications aren't really necessary for them. Or, I mean, the problem is that you can always make that argument, well, it might be that you might be missing something, you could use a refresher. And I go, yeah, I don't remember all of my maths from 5th grade. Should I go back and do 5th grade all over again? So it's the same principle. I don't remember geology from school. Should I go back and do that as well? Because it could be useful, because I could be better at it. Yeah, but that's not what matters. What matters is, can you effectively execute on the tasks that you need in order to bring money to the company? That is what matters. That's the thing that you tell your boss and explain, that either you're doing that already, that's already happening, or you are in no way going to be impacted by the fact that you get this certification. In other words, like, this is just basically wasting time, because the thing you're doing is not going to be there's no added value, if that makes sense. That's the argument you should present, and then just hope that there's no type of, like, as I said, a belief system, because people who have a strong belief system, their belief system will always make them right. It's why it's notoriously difficult to use rational arguments with people who believe in things. It doesn't have to be a religion, but as you can imagine, like, they feel the truth. They've already decided what the truth is, and they're not open to rational argument or reasoning or anything like that. Have a great day.